They say childhood is the best part of life, and they were right. I miss recess. Have you ever just sat there and thought about how good we had it as kids? Like, really think about it. Spring break, summer vacation, recess. All you really had to worry about was bringing your homework in on time and remembering not to get in trouble by the teachers. I mean, some people didn't have the greatest childhood growing up. Some people had to grow up early. Some people grew up later in life. But one thing stays the same is that there's still spring break. There was still summer vacation. There was a lot of time for you to relax. And now as an adult, it's having to make sure that your bills are paid on time, or making sure that you have a 401k, making sure that that email that you got from your boss, you responded to and didn't leave it sitting in your inbox for 3 weeks. Like, at one point we were really sitting around wondering when the heck nap time was going to be, if you had that. And now we're sitting like, oh man, I can't go to sleep because I got to finish this project for my boss. Or, oh man, I got to wake up and go to work tomorrow. Like, these things changed over time. And it was a post that I saw, right? I don't remember when I saw it, but I think it was last week I saw it. And it really made me feel some type of way, because it was like, as kids, we couldn't wait to grow up. And now as adults, all we want to do is go back. And that really hit home for me, because it was like, adulthood is kind of like the DLC that we really didn't ask for. Life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get. And that's adulthood. It's glitchy. Bosses are unfair. And you can't save or go back and repeat what you may or may not have messed up on. When I'm at work, I see kids get off of school all the time. And there was also one time where I was watching a YouTube video by Timeless Tim. And he was talking about spring break and how you just got a full week off of school just to exist. You get to sit back, relax, and do whatever it is that you want. And then you grow up, and that spring break suddenly goes away. You see all the kids enjoying yourself while you're sitting there on a Monday, maybe using your last sick day for the quarter because you sneezed the wrong way. You didn't feel like going into work that day, right? But the thing is, like, childhood was simple back then, and it wasn't that it was perfect. Like I said, my childhood, of course, was not perfect, but it's that you didn't carry the same weight that you do as an adult, because you may have woke up stressed out, but you weren't waking up stressed out because you felt like you were going to get evicted from your home or getting, fired from your job. You may were stressing out because you were trying to, figure out what your purpose in life was. Or maybe you were just living, trying to get the better Pokemon than your friend. Maybe building a fort. Maybe worrying about if that girl liked you back or not. Maybe worrying about if you were going to write out a letter to this girl that you really liked in class, and then she got the letter, and then everybody laughed in your face because she showed the entire class. Yes, I'm venting, relax. But now it's all about going to HR, having PTO hours, and just trying to negotiate your worth, kind of like being in a hostage situation in a way. Like, like you gotta negotiate to bosses and do all this stuff with interviews and try to persuade people that you are worth being hired. And like I said, it's not that being a kid is better, because some people like adulthood. Some people like having that freedom. Some people like the independence. Nobody can stop you from eating whatever you want. If you wanted to eat ice cream for breakfast, nobody's gonna stop you. If you wanted to go on vacation, if you have a car or the money to go on vacation, nobody's gonna stop you. But that freedom also comes with responsibility. And adulting is living life on legendary difficulty. You don't just have to survive, you gotta thrive. You're expected to make something of yourself, to build, to grow, to grind, and to somehow have it all figured out before you retire, or even before you turn 30. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it sucks. It does. For my younger audience, it does. Don't try to feel like you want to be in the race to grow up faster, because there's some people in their 30s and 40s that still don't have it figured out. Some people still feel stuck in the same cycle. Wake up, work, sleep, repeat, pay taxes, pay bills, whatever it is. Some people don't even have a job. And your early years matter a lot. Because I think back when I was in college, right? And I was making video games all the time. And I was making YouTube videos and raps, etc., right? And I was just like, yo, I'm gonna make it big one day. But I realized that if all of that stuff I channeled when I was younger into just putting it out there and not caring about what other people thought, if I just published all of my video games that I made back then and not cared about what people thought, if I published all my raps and didn't delete all of them and not cared what people thought, if I had did all of these YouTube videos and kept going since I was 10, it'd be different. But that doesn't matter, because in your 20s or 30s, like, it's your time to lock in, you know? You want to travel? You could start budgeting, no matter what the job is. Run your own business, start, learn, fail, and figure out how to do it. You want peace and stability? Cut the distractions off, because these years right here are the foundation years, and it's gonna feel like you've got a lot of time. It really is. But you're 18 one moment, then you blink and you're 25. You're 25 one moment, you blink and you're 35. Trust me, it's easy to look at where you are and feel like you are not doing enough. But don't let nostalgia rob you of that progress, because the past was beautiful, but it's not where you're going currently. Because I've been there. Like, I've always felt like life was better when I was younger, and I wondered if that, saying they say where like you peak at a certain time in school, is actually true. Sometimes I feel like I peaked in college. Sometimes I feel like maybe that was in high school when I peaked, when I was on the soccer team and I was #1 in the state for like playing goalie. Sometimes I wonder if I peaked, but then like you gotta stop and think that life isn't gonna get easier no matter what's thrown at you. It's gonna continue to get harder. Pause. But you're gonna continue to get stronger. And the question is, are you gonna spend your time wishing for the past, or are you going to build the future that makes your past self proud? And if you're tired, what have I told you? It's okay to take a break. Go recharge. But you gotta get back up and keep pushing. Because yeah, childhood might have been the free trial, but once that free trial of childhood is up and you hit 18, you're in the full game now. It's yours to be. It's your story to write, your legacy to build. And when you finally start to win at your own game, you're not really gonna miss recess as much as you think you do. And that's where I'll leave it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell so you're notified of videos that I make. Do anything that you guys can to have my non-existent videos be seen. And with that, Desaya signing off.